I am not a soldier. I am not a knight in armor. I am JoJo Marie, and I spent my childhood in fear of absolutely everything. Some of it was self-induced, some of it was inherited, and some of it was a result of early childhood loss and tragedy that I endured. I carried that fear forward into my adult years, and it overshadowed absolutely every aspect of my life. And it wasn't until I was 44 years old, when I was completely bedridden for 4 years, rehabilitating, learning to walk again, that I was forced to face it all. Part of my brain died, and I had a neurological condition that was going to take years to rehabilitate. It was really during this time that I lost everything I knew myself to be and to be a part of. When you're sick that long, people fall away from your life. My husband of 23 years left our then 15-year-old son and we were forced to begin our lives again alone from scratch. I had credit card companies calling, I had bank accounts that were overdrawn, and my business of 23 years closed its doors. Every single day for 4 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I laid in that bed in excruciating neurological pain. And every day a part of me wanted to die. But every single day, I knew I had to live, because my son wasn't just waiting for me, he was watching me. And that fear that I carried from childhood, it transformed, and it transformed into terror. And the terror manifested in every cell of my body. And my body would tremble so bad that my practitioners would actually lay on my legs, sometimes for an hour, trying to get me to stop shaking. That terror transformed into me clawing the wall next to my bed down to the drywall studs with my bare hands, because I was desperately trying to hold on to something reminiscent of the old life I had, the person that I was. There was really no denying it, that all I could do was let go. But I couldn't let go because I felt this overwhelming need, this pressure to be a warrior, to be a soldier, to conquer and overcome. Because that's what society tells us to do, right? As soon as we're faced with a struggle, an obstacle, a battle, a perceived enemy, we show up, we armor up, we conquer and overcome. It wasn't working. I was debilitatingly tired. I had no energy. And everything in my life was at standstill. When I ask you to picture a warrior, soldier, or a knight, what is the first image that comes to you? Because for me, it's automatically the knight in armor. It's the helmet, it's the face guard. A warrior has shields and spears up at the ready. And some people look at this as safety and protection. Some people look at this as victory and invincibility. What I saw it as for me was obviously a barrier between me and what was waiting for me on the other side. Now, trust me, when I started the journey, I was suited up. I had a few layers of armor, and I had an arsenal under my bed, and I was going to be the victor. I had it all pictured in my mind, but execution was different. It was totally unproductive for me. So when I had this aha moment, I thought, JoJo, if you're going to survive this, and make no mistake, I knew I was going to survive this. I had no idea how the hell I was going to do it, mind you, but I knew I was going to survive. I thought, you are going to have to do something profoundly different. You're going to have to embrace a completely new way of thinking, a new way of being, and a new way of showing up in order to get the desired result you're looking for. And it was in that conscious moment that I decided to put down my armor. I decided to put down the shields and the swords, and I made a conscious choice to not be a warrior or a soldier or a knight. And I made a conscious choice in that moment to be brave and to be vulnerable. I did this through embracing love, kindness, compassion, and most importantly, forgiveness. First of myself, my own transgressions and shortcomings, and the list was long. I had done many things in my past that I needed deep forgiveness of myself for. But it was also forgiveness of my past, my present situation, but it was absolutely, most importantly, forgiveness of the people and the persons that I believed had done wrong against me. I did this through thinking thoughts of love, kindness, compassion, and absolutely forgiveness to them in prayer. And I did this every day. And I continue it today for them. I did this through picturing their bodies, their whole being in the most divine white light that I can imagine. And I let it encapsulate their whole image. And you know what started to happen? Because we know the universal law, right? What you put out is what you get back, right? So all this beautiful love, this energy, this vibration that I was putting out, it was the most amazing thing because it was feeding back to me. And it was filling my cells, my body. Things around me were changing. I was changing. The circumstance was changing. It was undeniable, the shift that was happening. People ask me how I did this. I did this by embracing 5 words that were gifted to me that I now call my 5 pillars of transformation, and they're trust, acceptance, gratitude, commitment, and liberation. Thank you. Let it sink in. So these 5 words were totally life-changing for me, and I'm going to go through them uber fast with you tonight. So the first one was trust. It was trust in myself, my gut, my inner voice. Trust in my mind and my body to conquer and overcome. But it was also trust in a divine spirit that I believed in, which resided in me, which for me was the universe. It was having a deep, intimate trust with them and knowing that they had already figured out what I could not wrap this head around. And it was trusting that letting go wasn't mean giving up. Letting go meant trusting that that divine spirit that resided in me was a constant. It was always there. It was always at work. And everything was going to happen in the divine right time and in the divine right order. I began accepting. I began accepting my current situation and myself in that moment, the way I was, in every cell of my being, and knowing that it was okay. Trusting that it was okay to accept it. And that does not mean that I laid down and stopped working towards my goal or let the perceived enemy infiltrate. It has nothing to do with that. What it meant was I stopped swimming upstream against where the universe wanted me to be. I kept going upstream because I was too afraid to go into the unknown. This was scary and dysfunctional, but I knew this. And the universe kept saying, no, we need you here. And I kept saying, no, I need to be here. The moment I could finally accept and say, you know what, it's okay. I know it's going to be bumpy down there, but there's going to be gifts along the way, and that's where I'm meant to be. It was a game changer. And in the words of Sir Winston Churchill, we know his famous line, if you're going through hell, retreat. Wrong. You don't retreat. You keep going. If you're going through hell, keep going. And that's what I decided to do. I became grateful, deeply grateful. But I'm talking about deeply grateful, not for the happy, sunny, fuzzy days. I'm talking about the atomic shitstorms that were around every corner of my life. When I could reformulate them and reframe them from hurdles into gateways, it was a game changer. It's like my knees hit the ground and I released and I realized, and I gave thanks. I gave thanks for the opportunity to grow. I gave thanks for the wisdom. I gave thanks for the people that had come into my space. Thank you all. And I actually gave thanks for the people that left my space, because it made space for the right ones to come in.